What's up, guys? I'm Dallas Jack. I'm with SPADE Creative. I've got awesome news for you. You're about to watch our interview with Micky Dolenz of the Monkees. He's about to be in Nashville April 27th at the Franklin Theater. Get your tickets. It's gonna sell out. You don't want to miss this show. This is awesome. Micky goes into so many pieces in this interview. We packed so much into this little 20-minute segment, and it's so much value for you guys. So we're just grateful to him and to his team for setting this up and for letting us do this. Without further ado, Micky Dolenz, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we want to welcome you, Mr. Micky Dolenz, a true one-of-a-kind entertainer, musician, actor, producer, comedian. I could go on, but we are excited for your show that's coming up on April 27th here at the Franklin Theater. And you are a truly fascinating human being, and we are grateful to have you here today. How are you doing this morning, fresh off tour?
Yeah, a little beat up. The touring, it's the travel is the hard part. And like we say, I'm sure you've heard this before, they pay us to travel. We sing for free.
Right.
And there's enormous amount of truth in that, especially when you get on a little bit, age-wise. It's the travel, it's a 22-hour commute for a 2-hour gig.
Well, that's so true, and you could have fooled us, but the travel is absolutely the thing that can weigh on you the most, isn't it?
Oh yeah, oh big time, yeah.
Hey Dallas, MickyDolenz.com is the website. Could I just jump in with sort
Please
of an
do.
off question, Micky? In 1969, you memorialized your cat, Shorty Blackwell, in a song of the same name. I was just interested, Micky, if you remained a cat person through the years.
Both dogs and cats. Currently just a cat, but always had pets around. Yeah, yeah.
We're excited about this Songs and Stories tour that you have, that you've been running for a while, and that you have these shows coming up. And I wanted to ask if there are any stories that almost made the cut or that didn't quite make the cut that you, in hindsight, have looked and gone, "Oh, I would love to share that."
Well, not really. I mean, different stories, different strokes for different folks. There's a couple of stories that I tried and they didn't work, but that's not unusual. Like same thing with songs. I found over the years, sometimes you record a song, it's on an album, and you think, oh, this is just gonna kill on stage. It's gonna just be great, and it doesn't work, and alive, and vice versa. Sometimes you think, oh boy, this is never gonna work live. And it does. And so you never know. It's to some degree. The big hits, of course, do tend to work always live on stage because people are just so familiar. And the stories I found, and it's still evolving. I just started doing these stories. I've always talked a little bit on stage, but and sometimes did shtick when I was touring with the other guys. But this isn't shtick. These are stories, and they're about people I've known or incidents that I've gone through with maybe other people. But they always have a punchline, not a punchline is in a ha-ha joke way. But they always have a tag and a kind of a punchline, and the punchline is the song that I do. And they're not necessarily Monkees songs. I tell stories about Stephen Stills, Elton John, Jimi Hendrix, and Chuck Berry. I'll give you an example. I'm not going to tell you all of them. You have to come to the show. I used to do a Chuck Berry tune all the time. And I would do the song, and I could tell people were looking at me and going, why is he covering an old Chuck Berry tune? But then I started telling the story before the song of why I'm doing a Chuck Berry tune. And it's a great little story. You'll have to come to the show to hear the story and hear the song. But that's an example of the kind of things I do. So all the stories do have sort of a point, and the point is the song that I eventually sing.
Hey, Micky, Dallas is going to ask you a little bit about your latest record, but on that record, speaking of stories, track number 9 is you say on the track, here's another one, another session I was at, and then you go on and play Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band reprise. Can you just talk a minute or two about being at that session?
Yeah, well, that's one of the stories. I was another one of the stories that I tell. And I don't want to tell it now because it's quite a long one. It was a couple of sessions I was at. I was just very fortunate to be invited by Paul, as a matter of fact, one night. And it was pretty amazing. Obviously, I was a huge Beatle fan, as we all were. But I was trying to be cool, you know.
You got it.
I didn't ask for an autograph. I almost asked for an autograph, but I didn't.
I love that. On that same album, the Live at the Troubadour concert was a benefit for Make-A-Wish, I believe. Am I correct on that?
Yep, absolutely. My favorite charity.
Can you share a little bit about how that came about, that collaboration, and if there's any stories that came out of that?
Well, again, there's a great story about the Troubadour that I tell with a song attached. But as far as Make-A-Wish, I was a Make-A-Wish once for some kid many years ago. Yeah. But I just got attached to the charity at that time, decades ago. And I just remained so. I have done a number of charity things for them, including concerts that they put on occasionally, raising money. And it's just my go-to charity. But over my course of my life, even when I was a little kid, and I was starring in a series called Circus Boy, I was asked to go and meet a terminally ill kid. It wasn't through Make-A-Wish. It didn't exist yet, but it probably was some sort of a similar organization. So I've done that a number of times over my life.
That's very admirable. That's an amazing organization to be a part of. So
it's great.
You do it.
It's great. It's a wonderful thing.
As a musician, an actor, a producer, you've got the list to run the gamut, but I always have felt that above all, you are an entertainer to your core. Have you found that to be a key piece to your success across these different fields? Or what advice would you give to people who are stepping into the entertainment industry in that regard?
Oh, that's easy. Get a good lawyer.
Wise man.
That's only partial. It's only partly joking. Well, there's two words in showbiz: show and business. And you'd be surprised how many people that are in show business that I meet, and they've been in a while, but they actually don't really get the importance of understanding that concept. There's the show part, which is your song and dance and talent, hopefully, and whatever you do, singing, playing, acting, whatever. And you work at that and you practice or you train, say. But then there's also the business. And that is where you kind of wear a different hat. Because in our business, in show business, you are the product, whereas most business, you represent a product. But in our business, you're not only the vacuum cleaner salesman, you're the vacuum. And it makes it very difficult because you're selling yourself. You have to do so carefully. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to underdo it. But it's hard to sell yourself, especially when it comes times for auditioning, say, and getting rejected, which everybody does. And it's hard not to personalize that, internalize it, even when you know it wasn't my lousy performance. I just wasn't right for that particular part or that particular thing. So that's probably the best advice I could give, is just learn to wear both hats. If you business or you don't want to do the business, that's fine. But then make sure you engage somebody who is and who is good at it, because it needs to be done. And when I say the business, I mean all of it, not just the financial fiduciary parts, but promoting yourself, marketing, all that, publicity, promotion, you know.
That's incredible advice.
There's plenty of people who have not lived by that advice and they don't have a career anymore.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. As I say, so many people I meet, when I tell them that, what I just told you, they're like, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. And they've been in the business a long time. It's funny how many people, and that's why you see some people who are so incredibly talented and they just haven't made it. And you're like, why? Hasn't that person made it? Number of reasons maybe, but probably it's because they haven't got the business side of it down. And vice versa. You see people who are incredibly successful and you go, what? How did they do that? Probably because maybe they lack a little bit in talent, but they make up for it in the business promotion marketing area.
Hey, Micky, as a self-appointed ambassador of Nashville, can you recount one or two memories of your time in this city here in Tennessee?
I remember being on Broadway, hanging out there with John Rich, and I'm told I had a great time. I spent 2 years on that street one night.
I think we've all been there.
Oh, I just love Nashville. Are you kidding? Love barbecue. Oh.
We've got it all out here, that's for sure.
Recorded there, done shows there, recorded. I was there doing that series with John, Gone Country. Yeah.
You know, one of your songs that holds a special place in my heart is Going Down. And I wanted to ask, the vocal performance on that is one of the most incredible that I've ever heard. And I truly, it sings to me, you know?
Oh, thank you.
And I wanted to ask about the recording process, what that was like, and if there's any stories that you could share from that.
Yeah, sure. We did a track, and it was actually a track for something else, but it was just the chord changes, no melody or lyrics or anything. And then pretty simple chord changes, 3 or 4 chords, I think, in the whole song. But the track came out just killer. And we were going to do, it was another tune, but use the same chord progressions. And it was Mike that said, you know, that other song is really a great song, but written by somebody else, already released and, you know, a couple times covering a tune. And he said, why don't we have somebody write some original lyrics to that track, to those chord changes, and totally different melody, lyrics, everything. And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. And we got Diane Hildebrand to send her the track, and she came up with something. And I do remember the first time I routined it with her. I started, the track's going, dun, 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 and I start reading the lyrics. I'm going, floating down the river with a sad. And she said, no. It's twice that fast. It's double time. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And she said, yeah, it's floating down the river with saturated liver and which you give, but I learned it, you know, and it took a while, but I learned it.
Yeah, that's a fast flow. It is impressive. It is a feat to hear it be done.
Oh, it's great tune.
MickeyDolenz.com, MickeyDolenz.com. Two big shows coming up at the Franklin Theater on Sunday, April 27th. We can't wait, Mickey. It's going to be good. In 2021, you recorded Dolenz Sings Nesmith. In 2023, you recorded Dolenz Sings REM. Are there any other catalogs that you would like to give the Dolenz Sings treatment to?
A few, and I've been thinking about it since the REM thing. I have a couple of ideas, nothing that I can really talk about because they're only just ideas. They're obviously it didn't happen on purpose. All that I started doing covers on an album called Remember years and years ago. I did a few originals and some covers of tunes I'd already sung, but my plan was the policy was I'm not just going to cover a tune, another version of the basically the same feel, the same grooves, all that. If I can come up with ways of reinventing, reimagining a tune, then it makes a little more sense. And on that album, for instance, I do a song, a Beatles song, one of the songs I was at the session. You'll have to come and hear which one. But it's totally different than the original. And Beatle tunes are especially hard to cover. You very seldom hear new variations, if you will, or Joe Cocker was incredible at that, doing Beatle tunes in a very different way. And the same thing happened with an album I did, Carole King tunes called King for a Day. They were, some of them were quite re-envisioned. And then the next one, Dolenz Sings Nesmith. I mean, I don't know if you heard any of those. Those are completely different. They are very, very different versions of Nesmith tunes, as are some of the REM tunes too. So, but it didn't happen intentionally. It just kind of fell together, but you never know. Watch the skies.
There was the thing about the Monkees wanting to write their own songs, and, you had all the hit makers, basically penning them for you. But Michael Nesmith wrote Different Drum, sung by a young Linda Ronstadt. That was an amazing song. I didn't even put those pieces together until just before this interview. What a track.
What a great song. That's another one of my stories. You just gave it away.
Sorry.
No, it's a great story that Nesmith told me how that happened. It was in the very, very early days of the show. We had just been cast. We were already recording, rehearsing, and everything. And he told me that story of how that happened. It's a cool story.
Wow, that's awesome. I want to be respectful of your time, as I know you are a very busy man, Mr. Micky Dolenz. We are truly grateful for you taking some time with us today, and we are excited to see you on the 27th at Franklin Theater. And what is the best way for fans to find out about what's going on in your world? Would it be the website, the social medias?
Yep.
What do you recommend?
MickeyDolenz.com, and that'll link to all the Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and TalkTik and whatever.
We got the karaoke version right here. We're going to have a Monkees party right as soon as we're done here. Dallas and I are going to work some out.
Cool. Thank you.
Perfect. Mickey, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.